State versus Rick Headley. Mr. Headley, this is your first appearance before a court. I've reviewed an affidavit for probable cause and found probable cause for your detention for capital murder, false imprisonment in the first degree, harassed and threatening, aggravated assault in the third degree, violation of an order of protection, and criminal trespass. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say might well be used against you in court. You have a right to an attorney. Have you made application to the Public Defender's Office?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you at this point. While you're in jail, you have a right to communicate with your family, friends, and your attorney subject to the regulations of the Sheriff's Department. And considering the charges and my review of the affidavit, I'm going to direct that you be held with no bond. But your attorney will be over to see you as soon as possible. And in the meantime, you need to fill out an application for the Public Defender's Office.
Okay.
So thank you, sir. State versus Keith Trivet. Mr. Trivet, I'm looking at an affidavit of probable cause for your arrest. Another judge has reviewed the affidavit and found probable cause for your detention for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. As you may have heard me tell the previous person, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say might well be used against you in the courtroom. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, make application to the Public Defender's Office, and an attorney will be appointed to represent you. And while you're in jail, subject to the regulations of the Sheriff's Department, you have a right to communicate with your family, your friends, and your attorney. And what's the recommended bond on Mr. Trivet?
He has a revocation, Your Honor.
There's a revocation, or is it about to be filed?
It's about to be filed. I'm sorry, he's on parole, Your Honor. He's
On parole?
Mr.
Is there a hold on him? Okay, they tell me there's parole hold on you, so at this time we won't address bond, but if you get that relaxed in some way, then we'll be happy to take that up with you, sir. Okay, well, thank you so much. Let me stand aside. State versus Brian Bernal, 18-120. Sir, I've considered your application and appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and I think you're appearing for an arraignment.
That's correct, Your Honor. We'll enter a plea of not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter that plea of not guilty. His case is before Judge Webb, and he will be here on April 19th at 9:30.
Judge, will he be here next week by any chance?
Now, he's got a big trial scheduled.
Okay.
Laser, that's who will be here next
Judge
week.
Laser will be here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If we could have him come next week, because Mr. Bernal has a parole hold, and I think we can resolve this next week if we can do that.
Judge Laser will be here on March 22nd.
That's my understanding too I'm standing in that day, Judge.
Very well.
Thank you, Judge.
9:30, March 22nd. Okay, we'll recall Gregory Wiley, 18-122, charged with forgery. Mr. Wiley, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and I think he's appearing for an arraignment.
Judge, he is, but we have a resolution to this if Mr. Wiley could be brought over this afternoon for
Very well.
plea.
Sir, we're going to transport you to the courthouse, okay?
Okay.
You may stand aside. State versus Valerie Hodges, 18-118. Possession with purpose to deliver controlled substances, possession of paraphernalia.
Judge, I did not have her fill out a new application, but I do represent her on pending charges, so I know she'll apply. She'll
Okay.
qualify.
Ms. Hodges, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and she appears for an arraignment.
We'll plead not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty. We'll have her appear before Judge Laser.
And she really wants them to send them in front of Judge Webb, if that's possible.
Okay.
If we could, and if it would be okay with this division judge to transfer her case to this division.
She already has another one in division.
Is her other one in for it? Okay, I must have done the arraignment. Okay, no problem, Your Honor.
Well, she has, it says here that she has a parole hold.
She does, Judge.
Okay, so let's see. April 19th. Anything else?
Dollar, did you hear that? There is a parole hold, like we talked about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, you may stand aside, thanks. State versus Gary Barker, 18-117. Possession with purpose to deliver controlled substances, paraphernalia. Mr. Barker, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and he appears for an arraignment.
He'll plead not guilty, Your Honor.
We'll enter the plea of not guilty. Let's see, when are we setting the pretrial hearing?
May 24th.
May 24th?
Yes, sir.
We'll have a pretrial on May 24th.
Judge, could we take up bond while he's here today?
May.
It's my understanding that he's being held with no bond because he had pending charges when he was arrested for these charges. However, in speaking with him at the jail last night, it's my understanding that he's 26 years old, has lived here majority of his life. His mother was Valerie Hodges, who appeared just before you and I think he was arrested with her at this point with regard to this new case. He did say that he made bond on the first case and that he's spoken with his bondsman and he would be willing to stay on that bond if the court would set a bond for these charges. I think that's appropriate based on the charges against him being nonviolent and the nature of the other pending charges before you as well.
How much is the prior bond?
Gary, do you remember how much your bond was in the other case?
You're talking about the first one or the second one?
The first one
the
was
first one.
$20,000.
The first one was I believe it was a $10,000 bond.
Judge, it was initially set at $20,000. That was an
Oh.
arrest. That was an arrest in February. We'd like his bond doubled or tripled, Judge. He got arrested, was placed on bond. His newest charges, which if you review them, are the exact same thing that he was charged with the first time. And so, yeah, I don't think this young man's going to run off. I just think this man has got he didn't stay out of trouble for 2 weeks. So if you let him out of jail, we're just going to arrest him again. And then I guess we'll just give him another bond. But
Hey,
at least,
man,
I think you should double his bond, Your Honor, at least.
May I say something, please?
Not right now, Gary, just a minute.
Does he have a prior record?
I don't.
He has one as a 19-year-old, Judge, and I think the same situation was arrested with his mother at that time. That's based on the conversation I had with him last night.
Judge, I don't have his criminal history. Maybe we need to review that before the court enters a decision.
Yeah, I'd like to check on that. I'll make a decision on your bond, sir. You may stand aside right now. Bethany Byer, 18-119, possession with purpose to deliver controlled substances. And I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You appear for an arraignment.
Judge, she'll plead not guilty. We would like to have her brought over today for hopeful resolution to this matter.
They will enter the plea of not guilty. In case the matter is not resolved, we'll have a pretrial on May 24th. But we're going to transport you to the courthouse now. You may stand aside. State versus Nathaniel Korowicki, 18-115, theft of property. I'm appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. He appears for an arraignment.
Judge will plead not guilty, and we'd like to have him brought over for probable resolution today.
We'll transport you to the courthouse. In case your case is not resolved, we'll have a pretrial on May 24th. You may stand aside. Benjamin Raban, 18-114, charged with battery in the second degree, 2 counts. You have a lawyer, sir?
No, I'm here representing myself.
Very well. How did you enter a plea of not guilty to these charges?
Yes, not guilty.
Very well, I'll enter that plea of not guilty, set you to appear before Judge Webb on April 19th at 9:30.
Okay.
Thank you. State versus Andrew Ramirez, 18-113, theft of property. You have a lawyer, sir?
No, sir.
Are you gonna hire a lawyer or make application in the public defender's office?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna make an application with code.
Okay, pick up an application there at the jail, turn it in as soon as possible. And we'll have an arraignment in your case on, let's see, April 12th at 10 o'clock. You may stand aside, thank you. Corey Mowry, 18-112, charged with possession of controlled substance, drug paraphernalia, driving on suspended. I've appointed the public defender to represent you. You're appearing for an arraignment.
Judge, he'll plead not guilty, and we'd ask that he be brought over for resolution today.
All right. If the case is not resolved, I'll schedule him to appear before Judge Webb on April 19th, 9:30. You may stand aside, sir. State versus Christina Walters, 18-101, trafficking controlled substances, paraphernalia, drugs and firearms. I mean, you made an $80,000 bond, but you can't afford a lawyer. Is that right?
Yes, I had friends that helped with that.
They won't help you hire a lawyer?
Judge, if it pleases the court, we are severely overworked at this point in time. If we could set her for an attorney status, just because she filled that out while she was in jail, and her husband did hire counsel who was before the court this morning. We would like people to explore some other avenues, if it's possible. I have every case on the docket last time we were here.
Yeah, well, Court of Appeals says that somebody else helps them make the bond, and no matter what it is, that doesn't qualify. Woman claims she doesn't have a penny to her name, but I'll set it for.
Just so we, part of our application process, Judge, does require defendants to at least seek counsel.
Okay.
And we'll be happy to represent her if she qualifies, but we would like to have the opportunity to discuss it with her.
Here on April 12th for attorney status. State versus Garson Dodge, 18-116, forgery.
Your Honor, I represent Mr. Dodge. He's not present today. We had attempted to file a waiver of arraignment yesterday, but the file wasn't set up at that time, so I requested from the prosecutor's office that his presence be excused.
Are you entering the plea of not guilty?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, and we will have a pretrial on,
It's Division 4,
is it Division 4?
18-116.
Okay, I'll have him appear before Judge Webb on April 19th,
Thank you, Your Honor.
9:30. State versus Eva York, 1899 and 1705, which is revocation, possession of controlled substances, paraphernalia.
Judge, we represent Ms. York. Doesn't appear there's any action to take today.
Okay, we'll leave the 1899 is scheduled. Let me look at the other case.
When was she placed on probation?
Judge Webb scheduled it for today.
The hearing? We're ready.
Continue.
I've never met with this lady. I'm not ready for the hearing today, Judge.
Okay.
Let's see when.
Okay. Judge, when's the next time you're going to be here?
Oh, April 12th.
That'd be fine with us. That'd be good with us, you know.
That's fine for us too. She's called to make an appointment. So
We'll set the hearing for April 12th.
come see that, okay?
State versus Amber Eads, 18-97. Possession of controlled substances and paraphernalia. And also 18-45. Amber Eads, Alias warrants shall issue bond forfeit with notice to any surety. State versus Sarah Sanders, 17-341. Burglary, theft, possession of controlled substances. Ms. Sanders, I'm looking at a police statement and some conditions of probation. Have you gone over and signed these documents?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what's set out in the document?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the charges against you and the range of penalties if you're convicted?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty to 4 misdemeanors, criminal trespass, theft of property, possession of controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia?
Yes, sir.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you guilty of these crimes?
Yes, sir.
This time, ma'am, I'll accept your plea and judge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to in criminal trespass, 12 months in the county jail. For theft, 6 months in the county jail. Possession of controlled substance, 6 months in the county jail. Possession of drug paraphernalia, 6 months in the county jail. Those terms will be suspended. You're ordered to pay $200 in cost, a $500 fine, $20 booking fee, $200 in public defender fees. Pay what you owe at the minimum rate of $100 per month beginning within 30 days. You make the payments to the Sheriff's Department here in Baxter County. If you go with this gentleman. Kelly McClellan, 17-453, drug paraphernalia, driving on suspended, failure to yield.
Judge, Kelly's been in to see me. Everything's proceeding as scheduled. Comes back for the deadline in May. We'll just leave this schedule.
Very well, you're free to go, sir. State versus Michael McHugh, 17-421, controlled substances, paraphernalia. Yes, ma'am.
I think we're here today for a plea deadline, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't think that the prosecutor's office has gotten back the information that they're waiting for from the crime lab.
Okay.
I don't think there's any action to be taken today, Your Honor.
Very well. Stay in contact with your lawyer.
Yes, sir.
State versus Kevin Martin, 17-369. Let's see, possession of controlled substances. Mr. Martin, I'm looking at a police statement and some conditions of suspension or probation. Have you gone over these and signed them?
I have.
You feel you understand what's set out in these documents?
I do.
You understand the charges against you and the range of penalties if you're convicted?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty to possession of methamphetamine?
Yes, sir.
By entering your plea, you're giving up your right to have a trial. You're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
I do.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
I am.
Have you been promised anything other than what's set out in these documents?
No, sir.
Have you been pressured or threatened to get you to change your plea?
No, sir.
And are you guilty of this crime?
Yes.
When was he in possession of methamphetamine?
Judge, on September the 16th of last year, this was a traffic stop conducted here in the city of Mountain Home. The defendant was found to be in possession of 7 grams of methamphetamine.
You know more about it than I do. This is 346 material, you think?
Yes, I do.
Well, this time, you're placed on 5 years probation. You're ordered to pay $200 in cost, a $2,000 fine, a DNA fee of $250, $20 booking fee, drug crime assessment of $125, pay what you owe, a minimum rate of $100 per month beginning within 30 days. Make your payments to the Sheriff's Department here in Baxter County. State versus Stephanie Elliott, 17-347, drug case. Miss Elliott, have you gone over these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you signed both the police statement and the terms and conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you feel you understand what's set out in these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand the charges against you and the range of penalties if you're convicted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty to possession of methamphetamine and possession of Xanax?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you plead guilty, you give up your right to a trial and appeal. You understand this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been promised anything other than what's in these documents?
No, Your Honor.
You've been threatened or pressured to get you to change your plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you guilty of these crimes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what did you do?
Judge, this arises out of traffic, well, not really a traffic stop, but an officer's contact with the defendant on August 30th of 2017 near Arcana Road. At that time, the defendant would have been in possession of approximately a quarter gram of methamphetamine on her person. In her car, there was approximately 59 yellow pills identified as Xanax, for which she did not have a prescription.
Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does she have pride?
I don't think he's had any prior felony convictions.
Yes.
He's got a history.
Okay. This time I accept your plea. Judge you guilty on the felony, the methamphetamine, you'll be placed on a 4-year suspended sentence. The Department of Correction on the possession of Xanax, 12 months suspended sentence to the county jail. You pay $200 in costs, $2,000 fine, DNA fee of $250, $20 booking fee, drug crime assessment of $125. Pay what you owe at the minimum rate of $100 per month, beginning within 30 days, and you make your payments to the Sheriff's Department here in Baxter County. And when a probation officer becomes available, you need to meet with him.
They'll sit right over there, just wait for them when they go up.
State versus Zachary Bales, 18-53. Possession of drug paraphernalia.
Mr. Bell's here, appears here today. There's no action to take in his case. He's previously been in treatment in care center ministry. It's my understanding he's not in that, well, I came with him today. I need to meet with the prosecutor and possibly the court about next steps because that was a condition of his bond. So if we could recall the case with regard to the bond issue today after we were able to discuss it, I think that'd be appropriate.
How long has he been out of care center, mister?
He came,
Today, sir.
He came with them today.
Yeah.
They had a disagreement in the courtroom this morning before court started, and they sent a letter to the prosecutor this morning, so.
Judge, on February the 22nd, you ordered this man, he wanted to go to Care Ministries. He did that. You said that if he left there, he would return to jail with no bond. He's been arrested. 1, 2, 3. He's got 5 criminal cases. He discharged himself from the program on March 15th, which is this morning. This gentleman needs to go back to jail.
If we could have a hearing if necessary to go on the record. He has some psychiatric issues that require him to be medicated, and I spoke to Care Center, and they will not allow him to take those. That's a rule of theirs, which I didn't know was a requirement. So obviously, it's probably not in his best interest or Care Centers for him to be there without being on these medications.
Well, Your Honor, I agree, we'll have a hearing, but I don't know that we have to have it this instant or today.
Well, we'll recall the case. Don't leave.
I won't, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State versus Tina Hilton, 18-51. Drug paraphernalia.
Judge Tina appears here today. There's no action to take. We could request to get some discovery in this matter. We could.
Leave it as scheduled. Free to go.
Back, July